Chapter 1034, Gains. The boundless gray fog boiled as the ancient and majestic palace burned. The blazing flames condensed into a fiery blob, as though a blinding sun had risen out from this mysterious space. A howling hurricane flipped the long-mottled table, snapping the thick stone columns and causing half the palace to collapse. Sitting at the fool's seat, Klein's brain was boiling before holes exploded out of it. Charred maggots then began crawling out of the cracks. He didn't die, and he had even very calmly reached out his right palm and tapped the armrest of the chair. Above the gray fog, this mysterious space quaked in an obvious manner. Waves of power surged out one after another, calming the hurricane and extinguishing the flames. The blazing sun evaporated, inch by inch. The thick stone pillars stood once more as the long mottled table returned to its original state. The magnificent and holy palace appeared as though it had never collapsed or suffered any damage. Klein's head recovered instantly, and the charred maggots that had drilled out had turned transparent again before crawling back inside. As expected, stronger than dragon of imagination Ankwelt. Klein muttered to himself as his expression couldn't help but warp. He couldn't help but massage his forehead. It's painful, this pain is also clearly stronger. While muttering, he rapped the edge of the long mottled table and made the mysterious space above the gray fog quake once more. Amidst the quakes, a pitch-black shadow abruptly emerged out of the palace's floor. This shadow twisted and struggled before being wiped clean by the gray fog's powers, leaving nothing behind. After nearly a minute, Klein calmed down completely and recalled the scene he had seen. That should be the ancient sun god, the city of silver creator, Adam's and Ammon's dad. From the crucifix he wore and that line, "Let there be light," there's a high chance that he is the first transmigrator. Perhaps he's Caucasian with a religious background. He used a language that can stir the powers of nature. It's similar to Jotun, but it's also different. It doesn't belong to Elvish, Dragonese, and ancient Hermes. Yes, it has similarities with the ancient Fasak of the northern continent and the Deutonese of the southern continent. This allowed me to barely understand what he was saying despite me not knowing this language. This is the language he learned from that strange giant building. He transmigrated there and inherited a rich inheritance. The second scene was of him suffering a betrayal, the scene of him being eaten by the kings of angels, white, wisdom, and wind. To a deity who claims to be a creator, that kind of corporeal pain and that distortion can only appear in such a situation. Yes, the divine blood he dripped before his death fused with the silver crucifix, and it later turned into the latter's form, becoming a rather powerful sealed artifact. From the looks of it, the unshadowed crucifix was obtained by one of the three kings of angels, or it landed in Ammon's or Adam's hands. To them, this is an important item their father left behind. The previous possibility isn't too high. The cross's effects are extremely useful. Furthermore, its origins are a secret that needs to be kept. No one would give it to the Augustus family. From the looks of it, was it really arranged by Adam? Why did he give the unshadowed crucifix to Miss Magician and Miss Judgment in a very reasonable manner? He had discovered that the two ladies believe in the fool after observing them for some time. This cross was meant for the fool that doesn't belong to this era. He wishes to know where his father, who also doesn't belong to that era, came from. But the problem is, how does he plan on raising that question and obtaining an answer? That City of Silver's creator's level is extremely high. He was able to sense my prying despite the long stretch of history between us. He cast his gaze above the gray fog and cast it on this mysterious space. Furthermore, the influence he created not only openly caused destruction, but also secretly invaded this place, creating a special shadow. It nearly lurked here, hidden. Doesn't this mean that, once one obtains the authorities of several domains, a deity's level will also undergo a qualitative change? What does the uttering of mysteries mean? Is it pointing to me, or the original owner of this mysterious space? Questions flashed past Klein's mind, making him come up with several theories, but the final answer eluded him. Due to his fear of Adam, he believed that the best outcome for the unshadowed crucifix was to have the City of Silver's godlike sealed artifact shatter it, and reform it into a pure beyonder characteristic. Reining in his thoughts and suppressing his questions, Klein conjured a new pen and paper and wrote down the knowledge he had learned from looking straight at the city of Silver Creator. Sequence 4, Unshadowed. Main ingredients: 1 drop of the sun's divine blood, or 3 adult sun divine bird's feathers, and a piece of holy brilliance rock. Supplementary ingredients: 60 ml of sun divine bird's blood, 30 ml of holy brilliance rock liquid, 7 drops of mutated fingered citron juice, 10 grams worth of powder of the heart of magma. Ritual: extract the strongest emotions that one is most unwilling to abandon before consuming the potion. Inject these emotions back again during this process. Sequence 3, Justice Mentor. Sequence 4, Black Knight. Sequence 3, Trinity Templar. After doing all of this, Klein picked up the bronze cross again and observed it with a heavy expression. He then threw Unshadowed Crucifix into the junk pile and stirred the powers of the mysterious space above the gray fog to suppress it. He didn't wish to see the paper figurines he cut begin to praise the sun the next time he came. In front of an ordinary house in Sherwood Borough, a postman riding a bike braked and stopped at the door. He then settled down his bike and took out a letter from his bag, glancing to check if the address was correct. "It's here, for Zio." The postman briskly walked to the mailbox and threw the letter in. Following that, he didn't delay as he got on his bike and kicked off. After a while, a pitch-black flame suddenly spewed out of the mailbox's mouth. This flame burned quietly and quickly disappeared. In Empressboro, the opulent villa of Earl Hall, Audrey, who had brought Susie to the garden for a stroll, had just returned to the foyer when she saw her father, Earl Hall, come in from the outside. He had his brows knitted, seemingly in deep thought. "Father, did something happen?" Audrey asked with concern. This was the most basic of observations, which she didn't need to hide at all. Earl Hall restrained his frustrated expression and said with a smile, "It's nothing important. I just never expected H. Vin Rambus to be a member of a cult." "He's a member of a cult," Audrey expressed her surprise appropriately. She knew that H. Vin Rambus was actually a member of the upper echelons of a secret organization known as the Psychology Alchemists, but she didn't understand how this was suddenly exposed. Earl Hall nodded solemnly. "Yes, he's wanted by the 3 churches. I'm still not sure which cult he's involved in." "Has he been caught?" Audrey's eyes darted around as she asked, curiously. "No, he disappeared before the warrant was issued." Earl sighed. "It's really hard to imagine that he's a cult member. He's of excellent character and is knowledgeable. He's rational and objective in various matters and is filled with wisdom." "That's just the side he wants you to see." Audrey inwardly mumbled. Then, as usual, she entered the small prayer room at home before dinner. She faced the sacred emblem of the Evernight goddess and got into a prayer gesture. However, her low chanting was, "The fool that doesn't belong to this era." After chanting the honorific name, Audrey succinctly reported, "H. Vin Rambus has gone missing. He has been identified as a cultist and is wanted by all 3 churches." With that said, Audrey was about to solemnly pray to the goddess when a boundless gray fog appeared before her. In the middle of the grayish-white fog, a blurry figure sat on the chair, looking down from above and gently nodded. "I'm aware." Just as this secret existence said that, the scene before Audrey's eyes changed suddenly. It presented a figure who was concentrating on praying. "Honorable Mr. Fool, the Church of Evernight has obtained intelligence from Kona's Kilgore and confirmed that King George III hides an extremely huge secret. For the obtaining of a Blood Emperor ruins in the Sturluan segment of the Tussock River, he colluded with the Demoness sect and psychology alchemists to partake in human trafficking, creating the human disappearance cases that ultimately led to the Great Smog of Backland. The Demoness sect's former representative was Despair Nightingale Panatia and was later changed to Saintess of White Katarina. For the psychology alchemists, it's H. Vin Rambus. Please remind Miss Justice to be careful when she meets H. Vin Rambus again. She needs to be constantly prepared to seek help. His Majesty." Audrey's eyes widened as upheavals went through her heart. She found it difficult to control herself. This was partly due to the fact that this news was shocking for a noble like her. In addition, it had to do with lie, which magnified her emotions. Almost at the same time, a news report flashed in Audrey's mind. It was one that had left an unerasable impression on her. According to preliminary estimates, a total of over 21,000 people died in the smog, and the subsequent plague took the lives of close to 40,000 people. Among the deceased were young children, healthy young men, and women. So that's how it is. What is the king plotting? The three churches likely don't have any actual evidence. Otherwise, Father wouldn't only be frustrated to this degree. Audrey felt an inexplicable sense of anger and sadness. It felt like particular principles she had upheld in the past had been ruthlessly trampled, or that values that had stood up to time were silently crumbling. She subconsciously lowered her head and closed her eyes. Then she exhaled and whispered, "Thank you, Mr. Fool. Please convey my gratitude to Mr. World." After her prayer, Audrey sat in the tranquil darkness and didn't move for a long time.